Hi, Michael.
Hi, Keshava.
It's good to see you again.
Good to see you too.
So today we're going to be talking about how to build practical tips for meditation into our daily life. So we've learned the technique, we've been implementing the technique, we're building that habit, and now today I'm going to be mostly focusing on just like those practical things that we can do day to day that can make a big difference in our meditation over time. A lot of these things, it's not like you're going to do one little quick trick and all of a sudden you're going to go into your next meditation and it's going to solve world hunger. It's just going to be, it's the little things that add up over time to make a big difference in your meditation. So I've boiled what I wanted to talk to down to three major points, and they are environment, habit, and your attitude. And those things are, in my opinion, great columns that are, or maybe columns isn't the right word, they are like three spices that you can add into your meditative practice. And if you feel like you're using one too much, try the other, etc., until through a kind of a balance you can learn how to have them all benefit one another. So I'll talk about environment first. Environment is so important for everything that we do in life. I mean, just think about the classic advice given to someone who wants to become rich. The first thing a lot of people are told is try and spend time with people who are rich. If you're an athlete, you want to spend time with athletes. If you're a scientist, you spend time with scientists. It's also just kind of naturally what happens. You mix with people who you like. But that can become an incredibly powerful tool if we use it consciously. So the first most obvious part of environment in my mind is the people you spend time with. So choosing to spend time with high-minded people, ideally with people who meditate and who are deep meditators, can be a great benefit for your meditation. And like I said, it's one of those things that you might not notice at first, but over time it'll have a profound effect upon you. And you might notice it in simple things like the conversations you have. You might notice that the more time you spend with people who meditate, the more time you will talk about meditating, which will then make you want to meditate more. Whereas if you spend time with more worldly people, or for example, people who are very driven to become wealthy, all they want to talk about is their next business move. And that is not necessarily very conducive to a meditative practice. So the people you spend time with is very important. And now I'm not saying you have to cut out all of your friends who aren't meditators, but just become aware of who you're spending time with and how that might be able to benefit your practice and your daily life. Another part of that is, of course, the people we spend time with. The natural thing is to think that they have to be in the physical body. But you can think of how many people do you allow to live rent-free in your mind? How many people are you constantly thinking about, worrying about, plotting your next revenge about in your mind? And in that, what I mean is you're giving them free rent in your own head. You're inviting them into your mind. So be careful of who you spend time with in your own head. The masters, the great avatars or great saints, though they might not be with us in their physical bodies anymore, their consciousness is very much with us. And we can draw their presence and their good company to us at any time. Yogananda said, "To those who think me near, I shall be near." And that is the highest company, is spending time inwardly with the great ones, with the saints, and taking them with you, especially when you have to go into bad outward company, taking like your spiritual bodyguard with you. So, if you can put pictures of the masters in your personal space at home, or pictures of saints who you find uplifting. I've also found it to be wonderful to put like a little picture I do of Yogananda in my car, because I spend so much time in my car here in LA. But I just put him, and he's like my co-pilot. And he helps me not to get mad when I'm stuck in traffic, and all sorts of wonderful things. But you can place these little reminders of good company in the places you spend a lot of time with. Now that actually brings me to my next thing I wanted to talk about, environment, is that, so we're constantly in a environment throughout our days. No matter where we go, we're in some environment. But the environment that we create for our meditation specifically is also very important. I remember once when I was a teenager, I went to a family friend's house who were longtime meditators, and the husband and the wife, both of them had been meditating in a specific room for meditation every day, twice a day, for about 25 years, I think. And they showed me the meditation room, and they opened the door, and I took one step in, and it was like stepping through a waterfall of peace. It felt like everything just washed away as soon as I stepped inside, and there was this stillness and this quiet. And it felt like everything dropped away. And they had developed that great magnetism in that space through their repetitive practice of meditation, and meditation alone in that space. Just like, that can seem a little lofty because a lot of us don't have a space we've been meditating in for 25 years. But just think about when you lie down on your bed in the middle of the afternoon, naturally you will start to feel drowsy. It's because your body knows when you lie here, you go to sleep.
Right.
So similarly, if you can create an altar in your house, it doesn't have to be big. It can be just a chair in your room facing east with a picture on a wall, but only meditate there. And try and meditate there at the same times every day. Build the habit. Meditate there consistently. And then you will want to meditate there more. And then that space will generate magnetism. And then you'll want to meditate in that space more. And then you'll want to meditate more. And it's a wonderful cycle that way. So we can create our own good environment. Another really important part of environment is the stimulus we take in. Music, for example, is a very potent thing. I used to listen to some really angry music on my morning commutes because it was very invigorating, or that was my excuse anyway. And what was really interesting was I noticed that I always felt afraid, and I always was ready to anger and get angry about something. And one day I just decided that I was going to stop listening to that music in the morning, and I was going to instead listen to the Gayatri mantra, which is an ancient mantra for enlightenment. And I listened to that Gayatri mantra my entire commute every day for a month, and I was blown away with what changed in me. I felt like my heart relaxed, I felt that my nervous system relaxed. I mean that in a very literal way. I don't mean that as a vagity. I mean that I used to feel like a sense of constant rawness in my body, and especially like behind my eyes, as if you drank too much coffee and you can't go to sleep at night. And when I stopped listening to that music and started listening to an uplifting mantra, that all went away, and I became very much more soothed on the inside. And consequently, my meditations became so much more joyful. Because when I closed my eyes, no longer was I tormented by this horrible, angry, grinding, burning music, but I was uplifted by this mantra of enlightenment. So music can be a powerful, powerful part of our environment. That also goes for the movies we watch, the television we enjoy, the books we read. Yogananda interestingly said that reading books is the highest intellectual sport. So you want to make sure that you're participating in a good version of that sport. Of course, reading books written by like Yogananda or other great masters is the best. Any questions on environment so far, or any thoughts?
You answered it actually before I even asked. I was going to ask, what about movies and books, but you just
all
got
of that.
From
Basically,
okay.
It's anything that you can perceive is your environment. Yeah, I don't know if that's an entirely perfect statement, but it's good enough for now. The next point I wanted to talk about was habit. So it seems like that might not be the most practical tip for how to improve your meditations, but just like the saying goes, for musicians, how do you get into Carnegie Hall? Practice, practice, practice. One of the best ways to ensure that you practice is to build the habit. I am a classically trained cellist, and one of the things that I started doing when I was 5 years old was I played the cello every day, rain or shine. If it was your birthday or if it was Christmas, you're playing that cello. And it's the habit, because at a certain point, after you do that for long enough, you don't even think about it, you just do it.
Right.
And it's through that consistent application of will into any activity that we develop real skill. And the reason why I brought that into this talk today for our practical tips to improving our meditation is the better we become at meditation, the more we'll enjoy meditation, and the more we'll want to meditate. And so building that habit is one of the most important steps to developing the skill of meditation. I mean, imagine if a musician is a great example. Imagine if a musician, a man, decided that he wanted to grow up and play in the LA Philharmonic. Let's say he's 12 years old, so he's a boy. And he says, Mom, I'm going to grow up and I'm going to play in the LA Phil. Great. And he picks up the violin and he plays once for 2 hours and he puts it down and he says, great, now I'm just going to wait 6 years and I'll audition for the LA Phil. We'd say that's ridiculous. You have to play every day. It has to become a part of you. Same with meditation. If we want to feel that peace, we want to feel that joy of meditation, it's not going to, I mean, it might come in one practice, but more than likely, it's going to take that integrating it into our lives, into who we are. So, like I said, practice, practice, practice. Doing it at the same times every day is a wonderful way to help build a habit. Doing it every day consistently, ideally twice a day. The yogis say that meditating first thing in the morning and first thing at night is really ideal. And it's been a wonderful practice for me because meditating first thing in the morning really sets the stage for the day. And then you can carry that meditation with you into your day, into all your activities and your attitudes, which then leads you into the evening meditation, where then you get to cleanse the day and reconnect with spirit, which then helps you to sleep better. And then you wake up feeling more uplifted and joyful, and then it's a wonderful cyclical process. Any questions on habit or how that might apply to your meditation?
I do actually. Sometimes because of work, I can't meditate in the morning.
Yeah.
And sometimes I can't meditate at night because I'm too tired.
Yeah.
So would it be okay sometimes to meditate like on the weekends in the morning and during the week and at night, or?
So ideally, I would say find a way. That would be my first answer. And what I mean by that is, meditation at first may seem that it takes effort to do, but in time you will want to do it. And so you're feeling rushed in the morning, you wake up late, you're rushing to get your breakfast, your things together so you can go to work. It's crazy, but you gotta have at least 1 minute somewhere in that.
Yes.
1 minute.
Yeah.
Just for now, try sitting down for that 1 minute and meditate. And you'll be so surprised with how much 1 minute can do. And that 1 minute, though it might not be building your practice, it's like holding a bookmark in your brain that says, this is important to me. And over time, because you hold that space in the brain, in yourself, in your life, that minute will grow. And it'll grow into 2 minutes. It'll grow into 3 minutes. Next thing you know, you might even set your alarm 5 minutes earlier so you can meditate for 6 minutes. And then it'll keep going like that. It's just like I was saying about meditating at morning and night is a cyclical thing of improvement. Same with just doing whatever you can do now. It'll improve. That's the joy of meditation. Now, I understand that there are flukes and there are times that, the apocalypse hits, metaphorically, and you miss your meditation for whatever reason. No, if that happens, if you miss your morning meditation and you're at work, try doing something really simple, like meditating in the bathroom. Take a 5-minute bathroom break. Nobody needs to know that you're meditating, but then you can still meditate and still get your meditation in. How's that? Does that answer your question?
Yeah, it does answer. Yeah. Because I'm gonna have to develop the habit.
Yeah, exactly. Developing the habit. That's sort of another talk of how to developing the habit. So I'll leave it at that. Lastly, and perhaps most importantly, is cultivating the proper attitudes for meditation. Now, what is the proper attitude for meditation? For me, it comes down to an attitude of enthusiastic self-offering. And it's not always easy to feel enthusiastic all the time, especially sometimes, early in the morning for a meditation. But these attitudes are something that if you can try and bring into your everyday, then they'll automatically be there for your meditation. And then if you can deepen those attitudes in your meditation, they'll inform the rest of your day. Yogananda said a lot of people don't progress on the spiritual path due to a lack of spiritual adventurousness. And for me, when I think about doing something that feels like a task or feels laborious, then you get this feeling of heaviness, like, oh God, I don't want to do it, it's another chore. But if you can think about something as, I'm going on an adventure, I'm going an adventure into myself, in self-discovery, then it can become fun. And that's a wonderful attitude to take. That's also a great attitude, coincidentally, to take into the world. But if every day could be an adventure that you're going on, all of a sudden, life could be rather enjoyable.
You're on vacation all the time.
Yeah, go figure. Doesn't have to be a slog.
I have a question. So what does self-offering mean? What?
Yeah, so, you know, I actually heard it recently defined. That's a great question. Thank you for asking that. Someone asked, what is selfless love? And this is a little bit of an aside, but the analogy that was given was the sun. The sun shines its light equally on all things without any expectation for return. And so what I like to think about is I like to try and offer myself and my aspirations towards a higher level of existence, a higher level of consciousness, and I offer that at the feet of the divine or at the spiritual eye, depending on your own inner tendencies. For me, I visualize that I'm offering myself and my aspirations to Paramahansa Yogananda, who is my guru. And I offer myself, my aspirations, my meditation, my day, my attitudes as self-offering. And I say, receive this, take this. I give this to you as a gift. And through that then opens a channel to be uplifted and transformed. Does that make sense?
It does make sense. So I do some website work, and sometimes I'm really thrilled with what I accomplish.
Yeah.
And so would that mean I do this for you, for God?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about my failures during the day? What if I get in an argument with somebody on the road?
You know, Yogananda said, it's actually in the Bhagavad Gita. Krishna says to Arjuna, he gives him this, these lofty lists, like, think only of me as you do your daily tasks, and your mind engrossed upon me, you shall ever think of me throughout all these things. And you're like, wow, that's a lofty thing. But then he continues to say, and if in this your faint heart fails, give me your failures. And so you can offer your failures too.
I've never done that.
Yeah, it's a beautiful practice. Yogananda used to say, blame God for your failures. He likes that. Now don't go out and consciously try to fail, of course. Do your best in everything. But then give up the result. That's what Krishna advises in the Bhagavad Gita as nishkan karma, action without the attachment to the fruits of action. And that is one of the highest perspectives and attitudes we can take. So that, just like you said, if you fail at something, give it to God. Offer it up. This is for you. You did this through me. If you succeed, wonderfully, same thing. You did this through me.
Makes sense? Okay.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
So let's go ahead and transition. We're gonna have just a brief practice of Hong Sa. We'll just meditate together for about 4 minutes or so. So as we've already learned Hong Sa and the preliminary breathing techniques, I'm just gonna march us through the progression together.
Okay.
And I won't do too much explaining the techniques. So let's go ahead and start by sitting up nice and straight. Awesome. I'm just going to check you with your back away from the chair. Awesome. Would you just scoot forward a little bit for me if that's comfortable, so your back's moved from the back of the chair? Wonderful. So your palms are upturned. That's beautiful. And let's just uplift our gaze gently to the point between the eyebrows. Beautiful. And let's begin by tensing the body in a double inhalation. Tense low, medium, high. Relax and feel. Let's do this 2 more times. One more. Now you can let the breath flow naturally for just a moment. And now we'll do a few rounds of even count breathing. So let's begin by exhaling the breath. And let's inhale to a count of 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hold. Exhale. Inhale. Hold breath. Exhale. Let's do one more. Inhaling. Hold breath. Exhale. Do one more at your own count, seeing if you can lengthen the breath comfortably. Now allow the breath to flow naturally. Become a silent observer of the breath, almost as if you were watching someone else's breath. Focus on wherever you feel the breath in the body. Maybe in the nose as you inhale. Maybe you feel the cool air when you breathe in and warmer air as you exhale. Now, why don't you go ahead and incorporate the other aspects of the Hong Sao technique, the mantra and the finger movement, and we'll meditate in silence together for about a minute. Let's let go of the Hong Sat technique with 3 exhalations through the mouth. Allowing the breath to stay out for as long as is comfortable. Enjoying that freedom from the breath momentarily. When you feel to breathe normally. And look with great attention and gaze into the point between the eyebrows. Practice that self-offering. Whatever feelings you may have in the heart, silently offer them up to the point between the eyebrows, at the feet of the infinite. And as you exhale, you can slowly open the eyes and come back to the room, maintaining that inner sense of peace and poise from our meditation. Wonderful. Do you have any questions?
One question, but this was short and peaceful.
Yeah.
It was really nice.
I'm glad. Well, thank you so much for joining me, Michael. It was a pleasure.
Thank you very much.